Hey YouTube, it's Grawlys. I'm here with a series of videos about runes and their basic meanings. Not only of interest to Warhammer 40,000 Space Wolves players, but also anybody with just a general interest in Vikings and Norse mythology and their method of writing. So, enjoy. In this video, we're going to focus on the Anglo-Saxon and Northumbrian runes and the creation of the fourth eight. In this video, we're going to explore Anglo-Saxon and Northumbrian Futharks. Now, there are some slight differences I'll put up here on the screen. The Anglo-Saxon and Northumbrian Futharks have additional runes as well as a slightly different order. The rune Answers is replaced by Os as the fourth rune, and many of the runes have variation in spelling, as I've kind of hinted at throughout these videos. There's more than one name. Kenaz becomes Ken, which makes it a Futhark instead of a Futhark. This fourth eight that the Anglo-Saxons and Northumbrians created is not part of the elder Futhark, and it represents the eight of the gods. So we shall proceed with Os. Now this is the one that comes into the first Futhark and it is replaced. Now Os represents the letter O, and it's the rune of wisdom and knowledge. Again, considered to be one of Odin's runes. Odin was the All-Father. All wisdom and all knowledge stems from the learnings of Odin. So that is Os. It's about having that wisdom and knowledge, or wanting to bring about that wisdom and knowledge and that learning. Getting on to some of the new runes. This one similar. This is Ak. It represents the letter A. It's the rune of potential and endurance. It's about what is possible, about things being long-lived. Ak is represented by the oak tree. And if you imagine the oak, the potential that an acorn has to grow into this mighty tree. You know, the tree itself, you know, might live for 800 or 1,000 years to grow, and 800 or 1,000 years to decline and die away. It's a long-lived plant. So the oak tree, Ak, is the rune that represents the oak tree, and obviously the potential and the endurance that it represents. The next, again, a similar rune, looking like a letter F. This is Aisk. It's the sound A-E. It's A rather than an A sound. It's the rune of speech and the word. It's all about language and communicating. It's about how we put our point across through the written word, through stories, you know, stories of the oral tradition, you know, about being able to tell a tale. This is what Esk is all about. The next rune is Ir. It's the letter Y in the modern alphabet, and this is the rune of locations and targets. The rune itself represents a bow, and if you think like the tale of Robin Hood, you know, I want to find a place to be buried, drew a bow, shot it in the air, where it landed, that's where he got buried. and there's quite a few tales across different belief systems where, you know, by shooting an arrow in the air, where it lands is, you know, Salisbury Cathedral, you know, as an example. You know, they shot a bow in the air, where the arrow landed, that's where they built the cathedral. You know, this is the rune that represents all that. It's about locations and targets and about a specific place, you know, being able to locate a specific place. The next rune is like a stave with an X across the middle. This is Yor. It's the I-O sound. It's kind of a cross between an I and a Y in the way it's pronounced. But this is the rune of hardships and problems, about the obstacles that we have to overcome to get to where we need to go. This is what Yor represents. It actually is representative of Jormungand, the serpent that circles the world and, you know, creates problems. And within the Elder Edda, some of the stories, if you kind of want to learn about that stuff, have a look for the Elder Edda, which is all like the Norse sagas. So hardships and problems is Yor. The next rune looks like a very staggered T shape, or a W on a stick. This is Iar. It's the EA sound, and this is the rune of death and endings. If any rune was a negative rune, a death rune, then this would be it. There are other runes about endings and kind of regrowth and rebirths and stuff, but this is about a finality of things. This is the final end, death, and things working to their natural conclusion. You know, not necessarily dying, but as in, it's the end, there is no more. That's what ER represents. This funny looking rune here is Quoth. Now this is the modern letter Q, and this is the rune of fire and cleansing. It's the shape is representative of a flame flickering and spiraling. It's about fire being an element of purity. Bonfires, the modern word bonfire, comes from a bone fire, where in ancient times there would be two bonfires lit, and the cattle was driven between the two, because the smoke and the heat and the fire used to cleanse and drive all the evil spirits away. Well, this is the rune that represents that fire, that cleansing fire, and obviously everything that belief system entails. Quoth. Now, some of you might recognise this in the modern world, surrounded by a circle. This is the peace symbol. It's Calc. It's the letter K in the modern alphabet, and this is the rune of transformation and restoration. It's not the peace symbol that is kind of like in the modern kind of Greenpeace type thing, but this is all about things entering a different states, being restored, being renewed. Calc is all about that transformation from one to the other, the chrysalis into the butterfly, the healing process that, you know, the people and plants go through. You know, if they're injured, Calc is the rune that enables that healing, that restoration. The next rune it looks a little bit like Degas, as we explored in one of the other Futharks, or the other 8s I should say. This is Stan. It's actually the stone is what it represents, and it's the st sound rather than an individual letter. It's a sound again. Now this is the rune of strength and endurance, As you would imagine from stone, it's pretty much the immovable object. It's heavy, it's there for a long time. You know, the mountains, how do you move a mountain? You know, a pebble at a time. You know, Stan is that, it's going to take me forever to move that mountain. You know, so Stan is what you need to use if you want that immovable object type of outcome. That's strength, endurance. I'm meant to be, I'm going to be around forever. Or if not forever, an awful long time. That's Stan. To complete this, or the 8 tier, the 4A tier, there is a 33rd and a final rune from the Northumbrian Futhark. It doesn't belong to an 8 itself. When the other 4 or the 8 tier are written in a circle, the 33rd rune forms the centre point at which all the other 8s revolve. It represents Odin's spear, Gungnir. It signifies that centre point in space that is the same time everywhere and nothing. Mystic in some respects. But this is Gar. This is the centre point. This is what all the other runes revolve around. It's the letter G in the modern alphabet, and it's the rune for the centre and new order. This rune represents everything, nothing. It's the alpha and omega. It's the centre point. It's the new order of things. It's creation of new. Everything into one. There isn't really any way to kind of describe it other than that, apart from it being, this is the rune that encompasses all the other runes in one. This is Gar. So that was a series of videos about Futharks, the runes of the Elder Futhark, the Anglo-Saxon Futhark, and the Northumbrian Futhark, about the basic meanings. And obviously there is a lot of material out there, a lot of stuff on the internet. You just go and Google it about runes and the meanings and how to use them in divination, how to create them. But if you want to understand how the Norse saw the runes and the magical kind of implications that they brought and the wisdom that they brought, then the only reading material you need is the Elder Edda, which is the story of the Norse sagas, and there is material in there that explains how the runes came to be, and the stories about Odin and all the other the Norse gods. So I shall leave the series of videos here. I shall look, if there's been enough interest in this, I may look to do some additional videos on runes, in how they can be combined, divination in magic, to create more powerful runes through kind of using 2, 3 together to create bind runes. But leave me comments below if that's something that you're interested in, because that's going to take a bit of research, and you know, if there's a particular thing that you want to kind of have, you know, a particular event or an outcome to something, then it's something I can look at, and I can look at how we can kind of create that bind rune specific for what you're trying to achieve. So thank you. I hope it's kind of been enlightening and interesting for you to kind of sit and listen to me waffle. This is one of my passions, about runes and what they all mean, and actually use them in daily life. So I shall thank you. If you've liked it, you know, please go and watch the other videos. And for all those Space Wolves players out there, for Warhammer 40k, you know, at least you understand what all those symbols on the rune priest's armour are going to represent now. Now there will be runes that are on models and stuff that I've not covered in this. There are other Futharks, and there's modern runes that have been created. So in this world at the 41st millennium, who's to say that new runes haven't been created that have some other purpose than the ones I've explained. What I've gone through here is what was created over 1,000 years ago that's still in use today, and potentially in the 41st millennia will still be in use still. You know, thanks to Odin and the Norse gods and the Vikings that spread their Futharks around the world. So thank you much for joining me. Hope you've enjoyed this, and I'll catch you again on another video from Grawlys Lair. As always, take care.